Hello everyone. Today we are going to start lecture 02 of class 8 mathematics chapter number 8, which is comparing quantities. Now in this lecture we are going to talk about profit and loss. Now to understand the terms profit and loss, we must understand two more terms, which is cost price and selling price. Obviously, if you are a shopkeeper, you before selling a product you must buy it. So you must be buying, suppose you are a computer seller and you buy a computer at rupees 10,000. Okay, so what is the 10,000 rupees which you spend to acquire that computer? Now you would be able to sell it for 11,000, 12,000, 13,000 as per your profit margin, or if it has a defect then you have to sell it for 7, 8 or 9,000 at a loss. So what are these cost? Which is the cost price, which is the selling price? Let us talk about that. Okay, so what is the cost price? Now the amount you spent to acquire the computer was cost price. So it is the amount, cost price is the amount for which an article is bought. Okay, it is the amount for which an article is bought, which is also written as CP in short form. Okay, so the amount for which an article is bought is called cost price, which is CP. Similarly, what is the selling price? Now the 10,000 rupees you spend to acquire the computer sell as cost price. Now suppose if you sell it for 12,000, then that will be the selling price. Okay, so selling price is the amount for which an article is actually sold, right? So it is the amount for which an article is sold. So it is called selling price, right? And it is abbreviated to the short form SP. So now since you have studied cost price and selling price, now it is time to study what is gain and what is loss. Now profit is also known by the name gain. So let us study that what is gain. Obviously, if you purchase a computer at 10,000 and you sell it for any price greater than 10,000, then you are making a profit. So what is gain? So clearly, when selling price, that is you are selling it for more than what you spend to buy it, so selling price is greater than cost price, then there is a gain, right? So when you sell something for more than you bought it, then you are making a profit, you are making gain. And what is the gain or profit if you want to calculate that also? So gain is nothing but selling price minus cost price. Now if you sell a computer at 12,000 and you bought it for 10,000, so 12 minus 10, that is 2,000 will be your gain. Now what is gain percentage? When you sell something, you gain something, but you also get a gain percentage. Okay, so the question here is, it is very easy to calculate gain percentage, but what cost the gain percentage is calculated? Obviously you earned 2,000 rupees by spending 10,000 rupees. That is, you are earning this 2,000 rupees on the cost price. So you should remember that gain percent or loss percent both are calculated on the cost price, not on the selling price, because cost price was your initial investment, right? So gain percent is nothing, it is gain whole upon cost price, that is the gain fraction, and just to convert it into percentage, multiply by 100 and add this percentage sign. So gain is SP minus CP and gain percent is gain upon CP into 100, right? So that is the gain percent. Now let us talk about loss. So when do we incur losses? When you buy something for more and sell something for less. Suppose that same computer you bought at 10,000 rupees, now you are forced to sell it at 8,000 rupees due to some technical issue in the PC, and you are incurring a loss of 2,000 rupees. So whenever you are selling something for less, okay, that is selling price is less than cost price, then you incur losses. So you can write when SP, that is selling price, is less than CP, that is cost price, then there is a loss, right? So obviously it is loss. So what is loss here? So loss would be CP minus SP. Clearly that is cost price minus selling price. So that would be the loss because cost price is more and selling price is less. Okay. Now if you want to calculate loss percent, same formula. You will write loss whole upon cost price because loss is also calculated on cost price. Your investment, your initial investment will be the base with which you will compare your earnings, right? So if you spend 10,000 and you got 20,000, it would be 20% of what you spend. So if you sell the PC for 12,000, it would be gain of 20%. If you sell the PC for 8,000, it would be loss of 20% because again the loss is 2,000 rupees. And when you spend it 10,000 rupees, so you can very well calculate that it was 20% of your investment. So you must remember one thing, and let me write it also, that the gain or loss is always reckoned. The gain or loss is always reckoned on the cost price, right? So you can very well see that we are actually using cost price to calculate the gain and loss percentage. Now let us solve some questions to find out more about them. Okay, so let us take this question where it says that Mohit bought a CD for rupees 750 and sold it for rupees 875. Find his gain percent. So you can very well see that since he bought it for rupees 750, so 750 is the cost price, and since he sold it for rupees 875, so it is just the selling price. Okay, so you can say here cost price of the CD is rupees 750 and selling price of the CD is rupees 875. Okay, these are the cost prices and selling prices. Now we have to find the gain percent. So first of all we have to calculate gain, and first of all we have to prove that there is a gain. So you can see since selling price is greater than cost price, since selling price is greater than cost price, comma, there is a gain. That is Mohit makes a profit. There is a gain. So Mohit is making profit, but how much profit, that we have to calculate. Clearly gain is what? Since SP is greater, so gain is SP minus CP, that is selling price minus cost price, which is nothing but 875 minus 750, which would be rupees 125, right? So rupees 125 is nothing but the what? Gain. Okay, so that is the absolute gain. Now let us calculate the gain percent, and obviously we will use cost price for this purpose. So gain percent is, now we have already calculated the gain, so gain whole upon CP into 100%, right? So gain here was rupees 125, cost price was 750 and into 100, and then there is percentage. So we'll cancel out the 0 and cancelling 25 as common factor, we'll get 5 upon 3 over here. So it would be 50 upon 3, which would be 16 2/3%, or specifically 16.67%. So you can see Mohit is making almost a gain of 17% on selling a CD. Okay, 17% is a very good percentage on these type of articles, but we are not going to talk about whether it is good or bad. The only thing which we have to calculate is what is the gain percent or loss percent, and you should also firstly verify that yes, is there a gain or not. Okay, let us check another question. Now this question says that Rahul purchased a table for rupees 1260 and due to some scratches on its top he had to sell it for rupees 1197. Find his loss percent. Now clearly this question clearly says that selling price is less, there is a loss, but sometimes they are not so direct, and what they do is they kind of make the language of question like so that you can yourself assume For example, here it is written due to some scratches. So obviously due to some scratches you have to compromise. Shopkeeper has to give some extra discounts, right? Similarly, they can also use the language that due to late delivery. So, pizza companies do that. Okay, when they deliver you pizza late, what they do? They make either they make it free or they give some discounts. Okay, suppose you go in a hotel and your dish has something bad, or your dish is very not good in taste. So what the hotel manager does, he actually gives you discounts. Okay, so these kinds of things or these kinds of statements actually tell you that yes, there is a situation of loss. Yes, here in this case you can directly see from the numbers that it is a loss, but sometimes numbers are not given and these type of languages are given, and you have to judge on the basis of these languages that yes, the questioner or the person mentioned in the question is actually incurring some losses, right? Okay, so in this question Rahul purchased a table for rupees this, so cost price is what? Cost price is rupees 1260 and selling price is rupees 1197, right? So cost price is 1260 and selling price is rupees 1197. So we can say, since cost price is more here, since you have bought it for more and you have sell it for less, so it the here cost price would be greater than selling price. Since selling price is less, obviously you are incurring a loss. Okay, and what is the loss? Since selling cost price is greater than selling price, Rahul makes a loss, right? Now he is making a loss, so we have to find the loss percent. So first of all, let us calculate what is the loss he is making. Okay, so loss is, since CP is greater, so we'll have CP minus SP, which is nothing but 1260 rupees minus 1197 rupees, which is rupees of 63. So rupees 63 is the loss he is making on this cost price. Okay, so what would be the loss percentage? So loss percent is equals to loss upon cost price into 100. That was the formula. Okay, so it would be 63 upon what is the cost price? 1260 exactly, into 100%. Okay, so if you calculate it, you will cancel out 0 with 0, it will cancel out 2 times, and 10 by 2 is equals to 5%. So he is making a loss of just 5%. Okay, so that was all about what is profit, what is loss percentage, gain percentage. Now let us see the relationship between selling price, cost price, profit or loss whenever they are given. Okay, so let us see the relation between selling price, cost price, gain percent and loss percent. So you can divide them in two parts, that is when CP that is cost price and gain percent or loss percent is given. Okay, so when cost price is given and either gain or loss percent is given, then what is there to find? SP. Okay, so here you can find SP. SP is not given. As selling price will be what? It would be 100 plus gain percent whole upon 100 into CP. Okay, that is the formula. Now let me actually make it easier to remember it. Obviously when there is a gain, if gain percent is given, then selling price would be more, है ना? So to make selling price more, your numerator should be greater than the denominator. So that is what we are doing here, and obviously it is also getting calculated on cost price. Now on the similar terms, suppose if loss percent is given, then let us write the formula on the basis of this formula. So obviously if loss percent is given, then there is a loss, then selling price would be less. So numerator should be less than the denominator. So how it will happen? When you subtract the loss percent. Okay, So 100 minus loss percent all upon 100. Now even if the loss percent is just 1%, then also numerator would be less than the denominator, and so selling price would come out to be less than the cost price. Okay, so that is the relationship between SP/CP when gain percent and loss percent is given. Right. Now let us talk about the relationship of cost price with selling price when gain percent or loss percent is given. Okay. So we can write when selling price and gain percent, or and selling price and gain percent loss percent is given. Right. So what is not given? CP. So let us calculate what is the formula for CP. Now you can obviously use above formula to do so. So cost price would be, obviously if it is a gain, then cost price would be less, so numerator would be less. So numerator is nothing but 100 and denominator is 100 plus gain percent. So obviously denominator is more, and this fraction will come out to be less than 1 into SP. So obviously cost price would be less than selling price. Similarly, if there is a loss, then cost price would be more. Okay, so we cannot do anything for the numerator, but to make the fraction greater than 1, we can reduce the denominator. So from the above formula you can write, we will replace gain percent from loss percent and plus from minus. So now the denominator has become small, so fraction has become more. So cost price would be this time more than the selling price. That is why we are incurring the losses. Okay, so this was all about relationship between selling price, cost price, gain percent and loss percent. Now let us talk about the question that a grocer buys 20 kg of sugar. Okay, a grocer buys 20 kg of sugar at a cost of rupees 18 per kg and 30 kg of an inferior sugar at cost of rupees 15 per kg. What do we mean by inferior? That is, either it is in poor in quality. Okay, he mixes the two kinds of sugar and sells the mixture as a cost of rupees 16.5 per kg. Find its profit or loss percent. Now what he is doing is he is mixing two different kinds of sugar of two different costs, but he is selling it them at the same cost. Okay, so you can calculate the total amount he invested on purchasing the sugars, both kind of sugars, and total amount he will get after selling this complete sugar. If a total amount which he will be getting would be more, then he would be in gain, and we'll calculate the gain percent. Otherwise we will calculate the loss percent. So let us start this question. Very simple. Cost price of 20 kg sugar would be what? Cost price of 20 kg sugar, because he purchased them at 18 rupees per kg, so it would be 18 rupees per kg. So for 20 kg it would be this. So he spent rupees 360 on purchasing the first kind of sugar. Then cost price of the next 40 kg, not 40 but 30 kg. So cost price of next 30 kg sugar is equals to what? He purchased at rupees 15 per kg, so it would be rupees 15 into 30, that would be rupees 450, right? So it is rupees 450. Now what is the total cost price? So total cost price is rupees 360 plus rupees 450, which is rupees 810, right? So total cost price is rupees 810. So he is spending rupees 810 on purchasing the sugar. Now let us see what is the total price he will get after selling the sugar. Now total sugar he has to sell has become 50 kgs, right? So let us calculate the selling price. Now SP of total 20 plus 30, that is 50 kg sugar. Selling price of total 50 kg sugar is equals to what? Rupees 16.5, because you are selling 1 kg sugar at rupees 16.5 and there is total 50 kg of sugar, so it would be rupees 825 if you multiply them. Okay, so that is the total selling price. So obviously your selling price is more than cost price. So yes, grocer makes a profit. It is very less, but yes, it is in profit. Okay, clearly SP is greater than CP. We are talking about total SP and total CP, comma. So there is a profit of what's SP minus CP rupees. So selling price minus cost price, that is rupees 15. Okay, so clearly selling price is greater than cost price, so there is a profit of rupees 15. Now rupees 15 on what? Rupees 810. So we'll calculate the profit percent. So profit percent is equals to 15 upon 810 into 100%, right? So calculating, cancelling out the 0, we will get, and after cancelling them with 3, we will get 50 whole upon 27, and if we divide it, it will be 123 by 27%, right? So it is almost about 2%, so he is in a profit of 2% after mixing the sugars, right? So this was the question. Let us talk about the next question, which says, if selling price of 20 articles is the same as the cost price of 23 articles, find the profit or loss percent in the transaction. So selling price of 20 articles, so let us assume the cost price of each article, and then we solve it the way the question wants it, right? So if selling price of 20 articles is same as cost price of 23, so let us assume the cost price of one article be rupees X. Okay, let CP of an article is equals to rupees X, right? Let the cost price of an article is rupees X, then cost price of 23 articles this will be what? Rupees 23X. Obviously one chocolate is X rupees and 23 chocolates would be 23X rupees. Okay, so that is the total cost price. Now it says the selling price of 20 articles is same as cost price of 23 articles. Okay, so find the profit or loss percent. So what you can do is you can find that, see, selling price of 20 articles would be this 23X because it is the cost price of 23 articles. Let us find out that what was the cost price of these 20 articles. Okay, and then we'll see that are we getting a profit or loss. Okay, so cost price of 20 articles, that is a smart approach. Okay, so cost price of 20 articles is 20X. So these 20 articles which we are selling costed us this much rupees. Okay, now we are selling at the same cost. We are selling them at the cost price of 23 articles. Okay, now according to question, comma, selling price of, according to question, comma, selling price of 20 articles is equals to cost price of 23 articles, which is none other than rupees 23X. Obviously 23 articles costed at 23X. So now we have SP 23X, we have CP 20X, and we can clearly see that selling price is more. Okay, so comma, SP is equals to 23X, comma, cost price for the same 20 articles is 20X, SP is greater than CP, implies that there is a profit, right? So यहाँ पर profit होगा. Now there is a profit, so we must have some profit percentage. Okay, so first let us calculate the profit here. Profit is what? SP minus CP, that is 23X minus 20X, that is rupees 3X. Okay, so that is the profit. Now let us calculate what will be the profit percentage. Okay, so to calculate the profit percentage, the formula is simple. Therefore, profit percent would be profit, that is 3x, whole upon cost price, which is 20x, into 100%. Okay, if we cancel them out, then x will get cancelled and 20 will cancel it 5 times, so profit percent is 15%. Profit percent is equals to 15%. Clearly you are selling 20 articles at the price you are purchasing 23 articles, so obviously you are making a profit, right? Let us move on to the next question. Now it says that a man bought 2 boxes for rupees 1300. He sold one box as a profit of 20%, another box at a loss of 12%. If the selling price of both the boxes is same, find the cost price of each box. Again, it is a very easy question. We just have to assume the cost price of one box to be x, then the cost price of the second box would be 1300 minus x, obviously because he bought it. So 1300 is the total cost price. We do not know the individual cost, so we have to assume it. Okay, so let the cost price of the first box, which was sold at a profit, okay, because you are selling one box is profit and one box is loss. So let us assume that the box which we are talking about, first box, is sold at a profit. So let us assume its cost price. Okay, let the cost price of first box, which was sold at a profit of 20%, be rupees x. So the box which was sold at a profit of 20%, let the cost price of that box be x. Okay, now since both the boxes costed 1300 rupees, and if one box is of rupees x, then the CP of second box would be 1300 minus x. Then CP, that is cost price of the second box, then cost price of the second box, which was sold at a loss of 12%, will be rupees 1300 minus x. Why? Because you can clearly see the cost price of both the boxes combined was 1300 rupees. So if one box costed rupees x, the other would cost rupees 1300 minus x. Okay, so let us find the selling price of, since we have to find the cost price of each box, but selling price of both the boxes is same. So let us first calculate what is the selling price of both the boxes. Now we have already studied the formula that if cost price is given, profit and loss percentage is given, then you can calculate the selling price. Okay, so using that formula, so comma, selling price of first box is equals to, so selling price is what? If you see the formula, then selling price is what? 100 plus gain percent upon 100 into CP. Okay, so it would be 100 plus gain percent. So what is the gain percent? 20 whole upon 100 into CP, right? So for the first box, the profit was 20%, so that is why I have written 20 over here. So it would be 120 upon 100, and the cost price was just rupees x. So that was the selling price of first box. Similarly, we can calculate selling price of second box. Similarly, selling price of second box, it was sold at a loss of 12%, so it would be 100 minus 12 whole upon 100 into cost price. Now what was the cost price of this box? It was 1300 minus x. Okay, so cancelling them out, we will get 88, we will get rupees we'll get rupees 88 into 1300 minus x whole upon 100. Okay, so you can clearly see that selling price and cost price, after calculating them, according to the question, selling price was same. So we have calculated selling price on the inputs which are given. Now the question says that they are same, so we will equate them and we'll find the value of x. Okay, since SP for both boxes is same, comma, so what you can see 120x on whole upon 100, this was the selling price of first box, would be equal to 88 into 1300 minus x whole upon 100, which was the second box. Cancelling the common factors, we will get, cancelling the common factors out, we'll cancel 100 with 100, then we'll divide 120 by what? We will divide 120 by 4, then 88 by 4, then we'll again cancel out the common factors, so we'll get 15x is equals to 11 into 1300 minus x, right? So 15x, then you will multiply this 11 into 1300 and minus 11 into x. So if you bring minus 11x over here, so it would be 11x, and this would be 11 into 1300, right? So this will be left. Now calculating them, it would be 26x is equals to 11 into 1300. Okay, I am not multiplying it because I know we have to cancel them out, so why do we have to do the work twice? Okay, now you can directly see that 11 into 1300 whole upon 26. Now if we use a table of 13, we will get this 11 into 100 whole upon 2, which would be rupees 550. Okay, so what was actually the x? X was the cost price of first box, which was rupees 550. Okay, so cost price of first box is equals to rupees 550. Similarly, cost price of second box is equals to rupees 1300 minus 550, that is rupees 750. Okay, so this was the question in which we have to find the cost price of two boxes, okay, when some conditions were given. Let us move on to the next question, which says a man buys an article and sells it at a profit of 20%. Okay, if he would buy it at 20% less and sell it for rupees 75 less, he would have gained 25%. Okay, so what is the cost price of the article? Now you can clearly see that the man is purchasing a article and then selling it. Okay, so he is making a profit on cost price. Now he says if cost price was less and he would have sell it even for 75 rupees less, then also he would have gained 25%. So let us use this information and we have to find the cost price. So let us assume it. So let the cost price of the article, let the cost price of the article be rupees x. Okay, so if the cost price of the article is rupees x, then you can clearly see he makes a profit of rupees 20 when he purchases it at x. Okay, the initial cost price would be x only, so he makes a profit of 20%. Okay, comma, so selling price would be what? See, obviously selling price is 20% more than the cost price, so it would be 100 plus gain percent, that is 20 upon 100 into CP, which was X. So selling price would be rupees. If you cancel the factors out, it would be 6 upon 5 X rupees. Okay, it was 120 upon 100, so cancelling the common factors out, we will get 6 by 5 of X. Okay, so selling price of the article when he purchased it at the normal X rupees cost was 6 by 5 of X. Now the question further says if he would buy it at 20% less. Okay, so let us write that condition also. If he would buy it at 20% less, then the new CP is what? See, cost price would be what? X minus 20% of X. Okay, so the cost price would be X minus 20 by 100 of X, that is 20% of X. It would be, if you calculate, it would be 100x minus 20x, so it would be 80 upon 100, so 4x upon 5. Okay, so this would be the next cost price if he acquires a particular article in 20% less. So that is the new cost price. Okay, so the new CP came out to be rupees 4x upon 5. Now if he would sell it for rupees 75 less then we have to find the new selling price. Okay, so the previous selling price was this. Now it says that he is selling it at rupees 75 less. Okay, so we can write if he would sell it for rupees 75 less, then the new SP, then the new selling price is equals to rupees 6x upon 5 minus 75, right? So if he would sell it for rupees 75 less, then it is the selling price, previous selling price, the new selling price is 75 less, so we have just subtracted 75 from the previous selling price. Now it also says that he gains 25% when he sells at this price, and what was the cost price on which he is gaining that? At 4x upon 5. Okay, so the question says if he gains 25%, then the new selling price equals to, see, it would be 100 plus gain percent, that is 25 whole upon 100 into cost price. What is the new cost price? The new cost price came out to be 4x upon 5. Now you should learn this formula. What is the formula? Selling price equals to 100 plus gain percent upon 100 into cost price. So cancelling them out, it would be 125 upon 100. So using 5 and then cancelling, we are getting rupees X, right? You can clearly see 125 upon 100, you will cancel with the help of 25, that 5 would be cancelled with 5, 4 would be cancelled with 4, so we'll get rupees X. Okay, so the new selling price is rupees X, right? So according to the question previously, we have just calculated that he would sell it for rupees 75 less, so the new selling price would be this. But when we are given gain percent and the new cost price, so according to this selling price is there X. Now 6x by 5 minus 75 was also selling price, this is also selling price, and they both have been calculated using formulas. So comma, this new selling price which we have calculated previously and this new selling price we have just calculated right now, they both have their own basis, so we just have to solve and we will find the value of X. Okay, so let us bring X over here and take 75 over there, right? So they will change sign. Now using the LCM, we already know that it is 5x upon 5, but still 6x minus 5x upon 5 is the LCM, is equals to 75, which means x upon 5 is equals to 75. Okay, which again means x is equals to 5 into 75 would be 375. Right. So you can clearly see that the cost price of article was 375, and you should write it. You should not leave your answer over here. So you can write hence the required cost price is equals to rupees 375. Okay, so this was the required cost price of the article. So rupees 375 was the original cost. So in this way you can solve the question. Let us move on to the next question. Now this question says that a person purchases his goods for rupees 1600. Okay, so he purchased it, right? He sells 3/4 of its good at a profit of 10%. So 1600 is just a cost price because he's reselling them. So he sells 3/4. 3/4 means 75% of his goods at profit of 10%. What profit percent should he sell his remaining goods so as to make a gain of 16% on the whole transaction? See, for 3/4 of the products he have already made 10%, but now the remaining 1/4 he want to sell at that price, which will overall give him a return of 16%. That is 16% gain. Okay. So we do not know how many goods he is purchasing. Okay. So let us assume that the number of goods he's purchasing. Okay, so let us write, since we are not given that what is the good, so let the good be in kg, right? So we can write let the man purchase y kg. Let the man purchase y kg of goods at rupees 1600, right? So he purchased some goods at 1600 y kg. Now he sold 3/4 of them at a profit of 10%. Okay, so comma here total CP, that is total cost price, is rupees 1600. Okay, he sells 3/4 of his goods at a profit of 10%. So how many goods he had? He had y kg of goods, so 3/4 of y would be a good option. Okay, so he sells 3y/4 kg, that is 3/4 kg of his goods which he has purchased, of his goods at a profit of 10%. Okay, so he sells 3y/4 kg of his goods at a profit of 10%. Okay, so what is the selling price? Okay, so the cost price of total objects was 1600. So we'll calculate the cost price of these goods and the selling price of these goods, and we'll find out. Okay, so now CP of, that is cost price of 3y/4 kg of goods, he purchased y kg. So the cost which he gave for 3/4 kg of goods is rupees 1600 into 3/4, that is rupees 1200, right? So cost price of these goods were just 1200. Now let us see what will be the selling price. Okay, selling price of 3/4 kg of his goods is rupees 100 plus gain percent, that is 10 upon 100 into CP. CP is 1200 over here. So cancelling out the zeros, we will get rupees 1320, right? Obviously 1320 is 1200 plus 120. 120 is the 10% of 1200, that is he is making a profit of 10%. Okay, so selling price of his good is rupees 1320. Now since we have to calculate for complete transaction, so we have to study that. Now CP, that is cost price of the remaining Y by 4 kg of his goods is equals to what? Rupees 1600 into 1 by 4, that is rupees 400. Okay, obviously you have calculated the cost price of 3y by 4 number of goods, and you have also found the selling price. Similarly, we are calculating the cost price of remaining y by 4 kg, which is rupees 400. Okay, so he has to make some percent profit on this particular last y by 4 kg of object, so that to make the whole transaction at 16%. Okay, so we can write that let the man sell the remaining y by 4 kg of his of his good at a profit of X%, right? So he has to mark X because we do not know how many percentage we have to take to make the whole transaction go on 16%. Okay, so you can clearly see when you do this, then selling price of y by 4 kg of his goods. See, let this man sell the remaining this at a profit of X%, then selling price would be what? Of y by 4 kg of his goods will be rupees 1600 into 1 by 4, that is rupees 400, right? So selling price of these goods would be what? 1600 into 1 by 4. Okay, so selling price, not this, it would be the cost price. Okay, it is not 1600, it would be the cost price. So selling price of y by 4 kg of his goods would be rupees. Now selling price is what? It is 100 plus gain percent. Now gain percent is, we are assuming to be X, so let us X whole upon 100 into cost price. Now we have just calculated the cost price. You can clearly see we have calculated the cost price of y by 4 kg goods to be 400 rupees, so it would be 400. So 100 plus X whole upon 100 into 400, so it would be rupees 400 plus 4x, right? So this was the selling price of y by 4 kg of his goods. Now cost price you have, selling price you have. Okay, so you should calculate it. Okay, so we have to calculate the value of X. Now total selling price of y kg of goods is equals to total. See, 3/4 you have sold at some other price, y by 4 you are selling at some other price, so it is rupees 1320 plus 400 plus 4x, which is rupees 4x plus 1720. Okay, so total selling price of y kg of goods is this 4x plus 1720 rupees. Okay, so now the man makes a gain of 16% of the complete transaction. Now you can see that total cost price is rupees just 1600. Okay, and the total selling price is this. So now you can calculate what the question is asking. The question is asking the value of this percent X, so that we can have overall 16% as the growth. Okay, so if the man makes a gain of 16% on the whole transaction, if the man makes a gain of 16% on the whole transaction, comma, then selling price of y kg of goods is equals to, see, man makes a gain of 16% of the whole transaction. So now selling price of y kg of goods would be, see, according to us it would be like this. Okay, according to the question, let us see what is the selling price. It would be same, so we equate them. Selling price of y kg of goods is rupees 100 plus the gain percent, that is 16 upon 100, into the cost price, that is 1600, that would be rupees, cancelling out the zeros, that would be 116 into 16, so after calculation you will get 1856 rupees. So according to the question, the selling price must be this, and according to us the selling price is 4x plus 1720. So it implies that 4x plus 1720 rupees is equals to 1856. Cancelling the common factors, common numbers, we will have 4x is equals to 136. We will take 1720 to the RHS. Okay, it will become negative, which implies that x is equals to 136 upon 4, which is 34. So that is how we have calculated x. Now what was x? If you see, we have assumed x. We have assumed, where is x? Let the man purchase y kg of goods at this, vagera vagera. Okay, so we have assumed x over here. So then the selling price of y by 4 kg of his goods is 100 plus x. Okay, so we have assumed here that profit of x percent. Okay, so we are kind of assuming that the profit should be of x percent. So he should sell the remaining 1 by 4th of goods at x percent. So that come out to be 34, which is very high, because obviously you have already sold 3 by 4 of your goods at 10%. Now with the remaining 1/4 goods you want 16%. So you have to sell them at extremely high percentages. So x equals to 34. So we can write hence the required profit percent is equals to 34%, right? That is the required profit percent. Now you can clearly see when a person purchases goods for 1600 and sells for that particular prices and percentage, so he should sell the remaining 1/4 at 34%. So okay, so I hope you all got the question. Now in this particular lecture we have discussed that what is profit and what is loss, and we have also calculated the profit and loss percentage based on selling and cost price of the goods and articles. Okay, so this was all about this lecture. Thank you for watching this lecture till end. We'll meet in the next lecture. Till then, goodbye.